What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm. Secondly, if you're new to the channel or maybe you've been ghost watching for quite some time now, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to inform your family and friends on this news and information, and that does also help give me a little boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's now get into today's news. And today we are headed over to Boston, and what this story is a clear example of, it is a clear example of how the sanctuary city status in whatever respective city we're discussing essentially is designed to protect criminals. That's what it's designed to do. It is not designed to protect U.S. citizens, and it is not designed to even protect those illegal immigrants who are following the law, as those who are in support of sanctuary cities would like you to believe. It's not. These laws are intact to protect violent criminals that are roaming free in our community because of illegal immigration that's occurring that Joe Biden is doing nothing about. So let's get into this article right now, because you're going to see this is just yet another very clear example of this, as there have been many examples that we have seen throughout the duration of the time that Biden's been in office. So let's jump into this right now. This article is titled "Migrant Convicted of SEX Crime Arrested by ICE Over a Year Later." He committed an SEX crime and was arrested by ICE a year later. Let's jump into this. A man with a past SA conviction was arrested in Boston last month, over a year after he was caught crossing the southern border into the United States illegally. The incident was first reported on Monday by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. According to the report, the Agency Enforcement and Removal Operations Office in Boston detained the 44-year-old Colombian native on February 14th as part of a nationwide enforcement effort targeting non-citizens with SEX offenses that ran between February 5th and 16th, bringing a total of 275 non-citizen SEX offenders. Now, mind you, the only reason this guy was caught is because ICE had put forward this nationwide targeted effort to go after illegal immigrant SEX offenders. This was an initiative that they put forth. Now, mind you also as well, they don't even have to go through all this if local law enforcement was able to collaborate with ICE. If they were able to collaborate with ICE, it would save ICE a lot more money, and it would save the ERO a lot more money by not having to do these targeted efforts when they can instead just issue out a detainer and that detainer be respected. When Boston PD catches an SEX offender, the detainer comes in and they actually honor it by handing that individual over to immigration enforcers. It would be a lot more simpler that way. But instead, what happens is that because they're not allowed to cooperate, ICE and the ERO have to do these targeted efforts to catch these individuals that are allowed to roam the streets for God knows how long. The migrant, whose identity was not disclosed, was first apprehended at the southern border near San Luis, Arizona, by U.S. Border Patrol in August of 2022. He was served a notice to appear before a Department of Justice immigration judge and was released on his own recognizance. So that's catch and release for you right there. That's how catch and release works. You cross the border illegally, and despite the fact that you crossed illegally, what we'll do is that we'll just give you a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge, maybe 5 years down the road. And until that time, have at it. Do what you want. And even if you do something illegal, as long as you're in a sanctuary city, it doesn't matter. We won't cooperate with the federal enforcement, so you don't have to worry about a thing. That's how all of this works. A month later, did you catch that? A month later, a month after he crossed the border illegally, only 1 month in, the man was detained in Massachusetts and charged with indecent assault and battery on a person over 14. After his initial arraignment in the Dedham District Court, he pled guilty in December of 2022 and was sentenced to only 1 year of probation. Only 1 year probation. Deportation officers from the ERO Boston apprehended the Colombian citizen February 14th near his residence in East Boston and took him into custody. The agency explained Monday he will remain in ERO custody pending removal proceedings. In his own statement on the matter, ERO Boston Field Office Director Todd M. Lyons decried the fact that despite his past conviction, the unarmed man was permitted to roam our streets. This Colombian sex offender not only broke our immigration laws, he victimized a Massachusetts resident, he said. We cannot allow such threats to roam the streets of our New England communities. ERO Boston will continue to prioritize public safety by arresting and removing such threats from our neighborhoods. But it's a shame that they have to do this alone. And that's really what I wanted to highlight today, is how ridiculous all this is, because ERO and ICE have to operate on their own. Boston PD had this man in custody. Not only did they have that man in custody, they tried and convicted him and gave him 1 year probation only, and then allowed him to continue to roam the streets, only for ICE and ERO to have to put a targeted effort in place on their own to catch criminals like himself. That's what they had to do to catch him. But mind you, once again, in closing, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it's mind-blowing how Boston PD actually had him, tried and convicted him, and then released him, as opposed to having him, convicting him, you serve your time, which should have been jail time. And then after you serve your jail time, we hand you over to ICE so that they can get you up out of here. That's how it should have worked. But that's not how it works in sanctuary cities like Boston, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and so on and so forth. In these cities, they're allowed to commit crimes after crossing the border illegally and then continue to roam free as if they've done nothing. This is insanity, if you ask me. It's complete insanity. And with that, that does it for today's news. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link is in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comment section. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.